Hi, welcome to the jessICAREctor show. I'm your host, jessICAREctor. When you're faced with challenges, sometimes it can be hard to see the blessing or the opportunity that it provides. It can be easy to focus on the challenge or the struggle and give up, or forget something amazing waits for you on the other side of it. My guest today, Nin Rafat, knows challenges and struggles all too well. Through perseverance, determination, and strength, she got out of a marriage, a country, and an environment that were holding her back and stifling her potential. Because she refused to surrender to these and Surya's law, she made her dreams come true. Her story will inspire you to do the same in your life. Please help me welcome Nin Rafat. Woo! Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much. I'm so excited and so blessed to be in your show. It's like a kind of dream come true.
Oh, yay. Well, we're excited to have you here. So take us back to the time when the struggle and the challenges really started to happen for you.
Yes. So before I unfold when it all started, let me take all of you to a little background of where I come from that will help to connect the dots. So I was born in a Muslim family. We hail from Pakistan, and I was the only girl child of my parents, 3 brothers, very pampered. I was my dad's little princess, and he would let me do anything I want. And for him, like womanhood was nothing yet that should stop you from doing anything. The country I come from, women are still struggling to seek education or get jobs, and they're seen as somebody who has to stay back home and serve their husbands or their brothers or fathers. But my dad and my family was totally opposite. And so I got the best of education. I went to best of schools, colleges, and I was like living a full life and, like writing and speaking and everything, whatever I felt like doing. And then life happened. I lost my dad in 96, and after that I got married. And the family that I got married was not like ours. The thing is that for them, women was somebody to stay at home and service the people at home, and she was not allowed to speak or like make decisions. That's the main thing. But since I got married and I was like, okay, let me start my life, maybe things will get better. And because I will be working with my partner, he would understand what life is and what kind of a person I am. And I also am a human being and I need my identity as well. So I will be kind of supported and helped throughout the way. But it didn't happen. And
I know his family was like that before you married him?
No, because you see, like in Jessica in Pakistan, every second family is like that. So you don't expect like that, you get somebody out of that world. But so everything was very normal. For me, it was like, okay, when you step in the family and then family understands what is happening with what kind of a person she is, and they kind of give you room to grow in that way. And that was my thought and my opinion about everything that was happening in life. But it didn't happen. I realized that for my ex, it was difficult to handle a woman who had a voice. It was difficult for the family to handle a woman who was aspiring for a career. And so it all started, it all started creating something that wasn't acceptable to me in so many ways. It was disturbing.
Now people may think, well, did none of that come up before you got married, that you had a voice about something, an opinion about something, and he wasn't for that? Like, how did you not know going into the situation that his family or he wasn't like the way you grew up?
Because in Pakistan, most of the marriages are arranged by the families. So there was there was no courtship. So I didn't know anything about that. And then for my mom and my brothers, it was just like, getting finding a proposal and getting married. And for them, it was like, okay, every second family is like that. But they didn't know the intensity of the mindset.
Yeah.
Because, like generally the mindset is like that, the country that I come from. But the intensity, they were not aware of that. And I think it varies from person to person. I cannot blame the whole country for that or the whole nation for that, but it varies from person to person.
Right.
To cut story short, things started happening which were really difficult for me. Like when I told him that I want to work and I will continue my job. But then he put like terms and conditions for me that if I have to work, I have to come and cook for his entire family. And then, and then I'm not allowed to go out with my colleagues for any dinners or lunches. And I was not allowed to travel outside the country because, he didn't trust me at all. And I was progressing in my career, and that needed a lot of like foreign travel. And then I told him that it's okay. I mean, you need to trust me. And that, I was a mother by then with my first boy. I was
how long have you been married at this point?
I was married for 3-4 years by that time.
At this point. Okay.
So then I was like that, you have to understand that I'm a mother and, I'm your wife and I have a family. Why would I do anything or, should be thinking about it's all about my career. It's all about my profession. Anyways, I got the approval of going outside the country for my conferences or for my workshops. But when I used to come back, trust me, I was like coming from the airport, I wasn't allowed to change because he would come and inspect me.
Wow.
And, like he would open my suitcase and then he would see, what kind of clothes I had carried or if I have brought something, any gifts or which he might think has been given to me from somebody from the opposite sex, from the opposite gender, that kind of stuff. And he would literally inspect me. And
how'd that make you feel when he would do that?
Awful. Really awful. I felt so disrespected. And trust me, Jessica, that's the point when I started sharing this with my mother. Initially, I didn't because she was living with my brother. The kind of family settlements or arrangements that we have back in our country is like, if you lose your father or the elder member of the family, then the mother is responsibility of the sons. So she lives with the son. So I never wanted to feel her. I never wanted to disturb her because I thought that she was living with my brother and his family, so I shouldn't be a burden on them. So, but then I felt that I needed to speak this out.
Yes.
And I spoke with her. And, Jessica, the only thing she told me at that time, and it was like I was 5 years into the marriage, and the only thing she told me was, then you better come out of that marriage. And I used to tell her, no, I can't do that because my son is there and I want to give him a full house, like a father, mother, a complete family. I can't steal that from him. And she said, but what you are giving him right now is no good.
Yeah.
You better have one parent and the right person to raise him, then have both with all the disturbances and he absorbing the things that he shouldn't be.
Right.
But I was like, no, you're wrong here, and I would still continue. And I'm like educated, I'm strong. I'll change them. She said they're not going to change because that's their mindset. So it's not going to be easy. And anyways, I didn't listen to her. What happened is that
sometimes moms know best, don't they?
Yes, they do. And then after some time, my ex and his family realized that my mom is like, they felt that she's kind of feeding me. And, so they started telling me not to meet her. Then for the next 3 to 4 years, I wasn't allowed to see her. I would go to my office and then in the lunch break, I would go and meet my mother and her and my brother and his family and then come back. This is how it was going all through. And then I started complaining. I started complaining her that they are saying that I just have one son, one child, and it's because of my diabetes. Because I had juvenile diabetes, so I was taking insulin. I still take that. So they said that it's because of your illness that you cannot have more babies. And see all other brothers and sisters, his brothers and sisters, they have like 3 to 4, and you don't have.
So
And
they were wanting you to have more kids, and at this time you had one child, and so they
yes,
were saying because of your diabetes, that's the reason why you're not having more kids.
yes. And so they kind of declared me as a sick person and who cannot have babies, and is not giving completely herself to her husband. And
Mm.
and then I told them that it's not about, we have a boy and it's okay. But
Mhm.
Jessica, here I would pause a little and let the audience understand this, that I'm so proud of my second baby. I'm so proud of my son. He's adorable. He's really adorable. But at that time, the decision to give birth to him was not because I was wanting. The decision was because I wanted to fit in that environment.
So
So
how long after they started saying that to you did you have the second baby, your second son?
it took 3 years. It took
So
three
they
years.
started saying that, and then 3 years later,
Yeah, and
here
I
comes.
Yeah, so because I had to work with my gynecologist and, see how things would go with me. And then I said, okay, I want to consent. She was like, don't do that. Why you? I said, no, I will. And she said, what is the reason? I mean, why do you want to have a second baby and, risk your life and everything? And it will not be good for the baby. What if the baby is unfed, God forbid, and health issues? Why are you taking that risk? And I said, no, if I do that, my family life would improve. My family life would get,
Yeah.
my
I have a
husband.
girlfriend who has juvenile diabetes, and she never had kids because of
Yeah,
having diabetes. And
right.
but it's interesting how they basically thought it was a character flaw on you, and not, I
Yeah,
mean, that you're born with this. It's not something you didn't choose to be diabetic,
right.
right?
Right.
It's not like, yes, please
Yeah,
let me take
God
insulin
give me
every day,
diabetes.
right?
Yeah, so then I conceived my second baby, and so my elder one
And
was.
he's fine, and everything's good with him. There were no health issues, right?
Yeah, yeah. So but he was a preterm birth. So when he was a preterm birth, that's when the whole thing took a kind of a twister kind of thing. And what happened is that when he was born, he was a preterm. They declared that because I was diabetic, that's why the baby is not healthy enough. And after that,
You
I
mean they, the family, determined
the
that, not the
family,
doctors? Okay.
this family, they said that because I was diabetic, and that is
Yeah.
why the baby is like that. And he was tiny little baby, and he stayed in the incubator for 45 days.
Wow.
I after when I got home, that's when my ex told me that we have arranged your room. They had a basement, a huge basement, and they said that we have arranged you and your kids to stay in the basement. You're no more staying in the room or in the area as with me as a family. And I said,
You and your kids. He didn't even
yes,
own the kids. You
yes,
and
yes,
yours, as
right.
though it's
And
nothing to do with him.
And Jessica, the reason why I come and speak about my story is to make people understand that although I was educated, although I had a voice, although I was traveling, I was like a full-fledged professional, but still I was being abused, and I let people abuse me. And
Mm,
this is normal. So many women go through that they say, okay, it's normal. They are in state of denial. And when you are in state of denial, you don't know what is happening with you, how
yeah.
badly you're being hurt and shattered.
But
Anyway,
I
so
think also we have to point out that it doesn't go from, oh, this is an awesome marriage, to the next day you're getting abused. It's like small, little, gradual things. So you don't see the transition because you go, oh, like a little thing that happens, you kind of may go, okay, that's a little off or not quite right. But then that happens again, and you're like, okay, and that becomes your norm. And then something small happens again, and then you're like, oh, but it's like all these kind of red flags go up, But when you don't do anything about those little red flags, that gut instinct that's telling you there's something not right about this, I don't like it, I don't like how I feel, something's off. When you don't listen to those things, and then something else happens and something else happens, and then all of a sudden your norm years later looks completely different than how you started the relationship. But when you're in the moment and in the days, it's not, so drastic as it was the first time, because every time you create this new norm, you have that little inkling, that gut, instinct that goes off, but you choose to ignore it, and you're like, okay, okay, and before you know it, it's so drastically different, and you sit there and go, how did I get here? Like,
Right.
how did I get here? But you're not making that big leap, that big jump. It's those gradual, small things that we choose in a variety of different situations that we choose to ignore. And then all of a sudden we're like, what? Like,
Yes,
what
exactly.
just happened? And we can't figure out how we got here. We're like, what? How did I get here? This is not what I envisioned or thought my life would look like. But it's all these things along the way that we didn't pay attention to.
Right. Very true. Very true. Very well said. This is how it happened with me. So anyways,
What happens now? You're in the basement with your kids, and are you just living life by yourselves, just you and your kids? Are you still eating dinner with them? Are you seeing them?
So I was like, they always invited me to come and have dinner with them, but if I'm not going, that's okay with them. And I had a maid for my boys because I was working, so they would not even check on my boys or the maid how they're doing throughout the day when I'm not there. So things were getting really bad, and my mom, and she always, when she got to know that I'm in the basement, and she was like, "This is too much. How much disrespect are you, like capable of absorbing?"
I love your mom.
Yeah, and then she was like, well, you know what? This is disrespect to the boys as well, because in their own father's house, they're not allowed to live in the whole house, and stuff like that. So, anyways, I stayed there, and after 3.5 years of this, where I was living in the basement, but still in my husband's house, one fine morning he came and he said, we cannot live together, and you can leave the house right now. And I said, I'm not going to leave the house. It was Sunday morning, and I said, I cannot leave the house without my boys. I will take them with me. And he said, no, you can't. I said, let the boys decide. Although my little one was just 3.5 and or almost to be 4. And then my elder one was 12. So he woke up my son. He was sleeping, my elder one. He woke him up and he said that, do you want to live with your mom or with your dad? And he just looked at him, like the question. I mean, he wasn't prepared for that question. So he said that I want to go with my mom. And he said, are you sure? Because she will be begging on the streets. You won't have this life, because the whole family, he and his family are very wealthy and influential in Pakistan. So he said that you won't have all this. And he said, I don't care. I'll go with mom. And the moment he said he'll go with mom, that actually hurt his father's ego. And he told me, you just have 10 minutes to pick whatever you have to from this house and leave. And I said, I'm taking the little one as well. And little one just woke up, lost. And you can imagine the 3.5-year kid, so he was just lost. And I didn't know what to grab. My elder one, he took his school bag because for him that was the essential and most important. But I didn't know what to take. The clothes that I picked, I mean, I had like pants with the blouses there and the blouse with no pants or something like that, because I didn't know what to pick. They didn't even allow us to take suitcases to pack. So we just, tied them in the chute, and then I just put everything in the car. I had a driver and we just drove. I never wanted to go to my mom's house because it was my brother's house actually. So we had a family house in Karachi, but it was closed for ages. Nobody lived there. And I told my driver, we can just go there and see how it is, because he didn't.
So your ex let you take the younger one then?
Yes, both the boys. So both the boys were with me. I landed up in our family house, and that was so painful, Jessica, because it was closed for more than 15, 18 years. It was all dust and everything. I just made some space for the boys to just settle down, and then I just fed them. And I was like, okay, he has. And I called my mom and I told her this has happened. So she said, "Are you going to go back?" And her always concerned, "Are you going to go back?" And my reply was, "Let's see if he comes." And she said, "This is unbelievable." And she just banged the phone because she thought that I have lost my senses. And so after 2 days, because this is how I was thrown out of the house. So after 2 days, when I just gathered myself, I called my office and I said that there are things that had happened to me at personal level, and I would need some time away from work. Is it okay? They said you can take some time away from work, but it's better if you come and like get into the routine. That's better.
So what
And
would you be doing with your kids now while you're at work?
yeah, so the maid that was there, I called her, because my sons had to go to school as well. So I called her. I said, "Now you stay with me 24/7," because when I was with my ex-in-laws, she was just there till I come from the office, and then she would leave. So I said, "Can you stay 24/7?" She agreed, and that's how the arrangements were done. And I started working. And I thought that, okay, because he hasn't divorced me, it's just that he threw me out of the house with my
So
son.
then what happened in order for you to leave Pakistan?
So he, after a week or so, he and his family came and they announced the divorce the Islamic way, where you have to say that I'm divorcing you from this marriage and stuff like that. So they did that and they went away. So now I was divorced. And I thought, okay, now I'm divorced. My sons were going to school. I never changed their school. They were going to the best schools in Pakistan. I continued that because I was doing a good job. So I had no issues or concerns on that. All of a sudden, after like 3 months of this, the whole thing, after 3 months, I'm getting a notice from the court that he needs custody of the boys. So now here is the trick.
From him in 3 months, and all of a sudden now he wants custody.
Yeah, and then he hasn't seen the boys, nothing. And after 3 months, this boy, the letter that came in from the court that I have to appear in the court for the custody of the boys. I was sure, because the constitution of Pakistan is very much similar as the constitution of any other, probably close to all the other countries. It's like, if the kids are younger and they want to stay with their mom, the little one will be with the mother till he turns 7. And then for the 12, they'll take the consent. It was like that forever. So I knew that I'm going to win the case because I am earning as well, and I'm not asking for any, money or anything from him as alimony or anything. So it would be a simple thing, and it was exactly that. They said that I can have the boys and
Awesome.
things will be okay. He went to the Sharia court, which is the Islamic law. And Islamic law means it is superior than the constitution in Pakistan. So he went to the Islamic code, and in Islamic code, the boys cannot live with their mothers because they carry the family name. So if they have to live with their mothers, they have to the mother has to have a custody consent from the father.
And he wasn't willing to give you that.
He wasn't willing to give me that. And by that time, he had married and his wife was pregnant. And I met them in the court. That was the last time I saw him. I met them in the court and she was pregnant. And then the lady was standing next to him. And I went to him and I said that, your problem is not me. Your problem is that you have some serious grudges against women in general. Because I'm a mother, my boys want to be with me, and I'm ready to take the responsibility, and you're not giving my boys. You are forcing another woman who married you. You didn't even ask her if she's ready to raise my boys. You're just, putting that burden on her because you want that.
So what ended up happening?
So
Releasing custody of the boys?
no, he didn't release the custody of the boys. And in the thing that on the same day when we went again in the courtroom, so I told the judges there, which we call qazis in the Sharia law,
Yeah.
I told them that, I don't know what religion or thing you follow, but the Islam that I follow, or the Allah that I follow, he is not saying that the kids should not be with the mother when the father is not ready to keep them fully, right? And then the mother can raise them, the mother has the money to do that, so why cannot I keep them? So I don't understand that what kind of a law is this which says that the kids cannot be with the mother, they can go to orphanage but not to the mother.
Wow.
So, and then when I said this, so that made them offended because they thought that I've said something against religion. And there was the court break. And when I got out, my lawyer said, this is not the tone you should have used in the court because it will go against you. It will put you as somebody who is going against. I said, I didn't say anything against the religion. I just tried to explain that. He said, no, it's not going to be seen that way. Jessica, that's the day I realized that I have failed. And when I went home, I knew that I have lost everything. This is an endless fight. I'm not going to win this case, and this will not be this thing. Right. And those were the days when I got connected with you. When I joined the single mom movement, those were the days when I connected with you, and I used to tell you that, I'm so afraid, I don't know what to do, and we had so many conversations, and I'll always be grateful and thankful to you for being there always, and I always call you my mentor. That is the reason I call you my mentor, because I remember one day you said, I feel so shamed, and you said that, shamed for what? You stood for your boys. You are feeding them. You give me one reason that are you ashamed to nurture your boys? Are you ashamed to say that you are divorced? Are you ashamed what is that you're ashamed about? And I remember I had no answer. I paused, and I think as far as I remember, if my memory serves me right, I was into tears. And you said, take a break and I'll call you back. And I cried that night, the whole night, and I said, this is not happening. I have to take a decision. I have to do something.
Let's pause there and end. We'll come back and you can join us for part 2.